We are all the same. And yet, all different. But are we really that unique? How we are born. How we grow. How we live. How we love. And how we die. This is the evolutionary tale of animals and humans. The secrets of our form. Our extraordinary behaviours. That tell the story of us. Conflict is a dangerous game. Only the fittest survive. And there's always a loser. But there's an evolutionary force that's even more powerful than competition. It allows individuals to thrive where they may otherwise have perished. Cooperation. It shapes the behaviours and ambitions of many animals. And for humans, it's enabled world domination. Many of the behavioural traits we consider most human, language, culture, even warfare, can be explained by the same basic desire to team up in the battle of life. The benefits of cooperation were realised millions of years before humans walked the planet. Without it, plants and animals wouldn't even exist. Today, in the world's freshwater ponds, you can still find living examples of the bridge between unicellular and multicellular life. An evolutionary time machine called Volvox. By clustering together in delicate spheres, thousands of single-celled green algae work together for mutual benefit. Linked by strands of cytoplasm, thousands of these tiny swimmers face their whip hairs outward, propelling the colony toward light, where they reap energy through photosynthesis. Although each cell can survive on its own, as a colony, they can scavenge nutrients like phosphorus up to 1,000 times more efficiently than when they live by themselves. The same incentive helps a colony of vampire bats survive through each night. Under the cloak of darkness, 100 or more venture out from their cave in search of a living meal. Unaware of his thirsty visitors, a pig sleeps on, peacefully becoming their new blood donor. Every night, the bats must consume around half their own body weight in blood. Their metabolic rate is so high they couldn't live more than 2 nights without a meal. But though their thirst is relentless, vampire bats are surprisingly giving. If a bat returns hungry, it's likely one of the bats will regurgitate some of its own meal to prevent the other from starving. And they're more likely to do so for a bat that's been generous to them in the past. Foraging for food sometimes requires tremendous feats of endurance, and travelling in a group can lighten that load. As summer approaches, barnacle geese leave Europe and head north to the Arctic. It's an exhausting journey through all sorts of weather, lasting around 3,000 kilometres. As they fly in flocks of 100 or more, they sometimes paint the skies in long trailing lines. It's thought flying in this formation allows the birds to save energy. With each flap of their wings, air swirls in a vortex off the wingtip. And by flying behind and to the side of a fellow flyer, they can catch that vortex on the uplift. By taking turns as leader, everyone benefits, raising the chances of the flock arriving safely at their destination. The willingness of animals to work together has enabled our own expansion into the Arctic. Sled dogs have been used by Inuits for at least 9,000 years and were once critical to their survival. By working cooperatively as a pack, they can haul heavy supplies across icy deserts, including large animal kills. It allowed Inuits to settle the inhospitable landscape in just 1 generation. It's a feat no human could have achieved alone. Because it provides so many survival benefits, it's thought social behaviour has helped animals invade and thrive in some of the world's harshest environments. For the highly social meerkats of the Kalahari, life depends on strong bonds and communal efforts, particularly when it comes to raising children. The Cape cobra is one of Africa's most venomous snakes, and meerkat pups are one of its favourite meals. But meerkat sentries are on the watch for just such an intruder. Within moments of its arrival, the cobra is facing a mob of angry adults. it makes more sense to find another place to dine. But meerkats go much further than group courage in their contributions to parenting. They live in groups of up to 50 individuals, where only one dominant male and female will breed. The lower-rank females must guard, suckle and share their food with the pups without ever having any children of their own. In this way, the dominant couple can successfully raise more than 80 pups in their lifetime. Cooperation, even among the world's smallest animals, can lead to the establishment of great empires. In the Australian rainforest, a series of aerial leaf nests indicate the presence of a sisterhood of weaver ants. They number close to 500,000 related individuals, all acting like specialised cells of the same body. Somewhere in the midst, a single queen is preoccupied with her singular life task, pumping out eggs. Her sterile workers cater to her every need. They build and maintain nests and care for the young by assuming their own specialised tasks at critical points in time. To build nests, the ants line up to form a chain that bridges the gap between leaves. Each holds the other by the waist, and other ants reinforce the sides. As the leaf edges are pulled together, the ants use their mandibles and legs like staples to hold them in place and wait for the next set of workers to arrive. These are the artisans, carrying larvae which they use like tubes of glue. Dabbing here and there, they seal the nest with sticky silk. Other ants map out highways, establish scent trails, and vigorously defend their territory. At a glance, the ant city seems almost human-like in its division of labour. But a thriving metropolis has no comparison. In this concrete jungle, millions of unrelated individuals execute finely tuned tasks across tens of thousands of different occupations. Despite having no shared genetic interests, they achieve a level of cooperation not seen in any other species. How did we manage such specialisation and coordination? What behaviours transformed us from a simple animal colony to the complex human civilisations we see today? Basic divisions of labour can still be seen in families and hunter-gatherer groups. But it's thought more specialised roles came with the production of tools. Tool use isn't unique to humans. It's an evolutionary trick that's emerged many times. Primates commonly use a range of tools in the wild, from spears to rock hammers. And so do crows. Even fish hunt with tools of sorts. The archerfish has a specialised mouth that allows it to use water like an arrow, attacking animals beyond its watery realm. In a lightning-fast ejection, a stream of water droplets dart through the air more than a metre, knocking an unsuspecting cricket off its branch and into the river below. it's wise to always be on guard. And the boxer crab is ready for any intruder. Waving fistfuls of stinging anemones, he's armed not only with effective bioweapons, but a useful food mop as well, which can scoop up edible debris from the ocean floor. The crab creates the two pom-poms by ripping one anemone in half and making a clone. It keeps the anemone's growth rate low by starving it. That makes the boxer crab not just a tool user, but a bonsai gardener as well. But boxer crabs lack the anatomical advantage of humans. Up our sleeve is a triumph of evolution: the human hand. Our long, opposable thumbs can stretch further across the palm than any primate. Small projections of bone in the hand help the index and middle finger lock into the wrist, while the fourth and little finger can collapse inward, allowing us to make a fist, a unique human skill. With dexterity, strength and precision, we've achieved a marvellous mastery of all kinds of tools. Combined with our imaginative brains, tools in the hands of humans have helped us enter new worlds and forge even stronger social bonds. Used cooperatively, tools have led to our remarkable levels of specialisation, giving each one of us an important role to play. It's also led to an astonishing advancement in human devices themselves. From sailing ships to passenger jets, to the complex machines that built our modern landscapes. We measure time, send information at the speed of light, and harness the Earth's stored energy to fuel our phenomenal expansion. Each one of us now masters multiple tools to increase the productivity of each day and to spread our influence far and wide. And that's given humans something very important to talk about. All animals communicate with each other in some way. But because we use our vocal cords, we're more aware of other languages we can hear. Like the tune of a songbird marking its territory or calling to a mate. But so many other messages are sent between species in codes we're only just beginning to decipher. As they defend themselves against insect attacks, trees warn their neighbours using chemical signals that travel through the air and underground. Those same grounds are marked with pheromones from social insects as they map out their highways, food sources and territories. And chemical messages between mammals communicate information about sex, genetics, even personality. At the same time, the world around us rumbles with a symphony of animal vibrations that escape our human senses. To us, a web is an astonishing work of visual art, But for a spider, it's more like an octagonal harp. Spiders listen to different frequencies with sense organs in their legs, with vibrations alerting them to information about the size and direction of their prey. Courting males can pick a species-specific web melody to make sure the waiting female doesn't mistake him for the next snack. The male peacock spider faces a more complex challenge. He must dazzle the waiting female in more ways than one. He raises a leg to signal his intent. And the dance begins. In his most famous move, the spider raises a brilliantly coloured fan. But this is the least complex step in his arachnid tango. Throughout the display, his abdomen taps out a complex drumbeat to arouse her excitement and interest. It's no game for the weak at heart. If the message lands badly, he's likely to become lunch instead of lover. But it's full marks today for this vibrational virtuoso. Humans have also developed rich and complex forms of signalling in a non-verbal way. These can be overt signals, establishing rules and boundaries and helping to avoid accidents, as well as more subtle codes that allow groups to gain advantage over another to achieve their goal. But mostly we communicate using audible sounds, as do most other mammals. Many of their vocalizations sound deceptively basic. Like prairie dog barks. But it turns out these North American rodents have one of the most complex repertoires of all. Ground-dwelling and small, they're on the menu of many of their wild neighbours, including hawks, wildcats, coyotes and snakes. Not only do wild prairie dogs have a word for each predator, the bark describes what each individual looks like. Carrying information about the size, shape, colour and direction it's travelling in. The prairie dog call for hawk is known to be particularly short, presumably due to the short amount of time to escape. Some mammals even seem to apply structural rules to their signalling which can be compared to grammar. Humpback whales are known for composing hauntingly beautiful love songs that can last almost an entire night and day. Only the males sing, which has led scientists to assume that the songs are sung to attract females. Their moans and chirps sound random, but whales in the same population sing the same song, which evolves over time. Mathematical analysis has deciphered patterns in the songs, unveiling complex rules where sounds are combined into phrases, which are further grouped into recurring themes. It's a format that could be compared to the sentences and words of human language. The songs even contain repeating sections that are a bit like rhyming. And here's an extraordinary thing. When you speed up the song of a humpback whale, it starts to sound remarkably like a well-known songbird. The nightingale. Just like in whales, it's only the male that sings. The nightingale can produce more than 1,000 different sounds. It sounds impressive until you consider that the average human has a vocabulary of around 20,000 words. And there's no evidence any animal communication contains the abstract references found in human language. These allow us to discuss the past and present, and concepts like justice and politics. And we're the only animal on Earth that puts our thoughts and words in writing. A form of communication which greatly enhances our capacity for cooperation. Writing began around the same time as civilizations emerged from small communities, most likely as a way of accounting. With writing, there was a way of expressing ownership, trade agreements, debts, and laws. These help us make important decisions about the future, as well as behave cooperatively in large populations. In the last light of day, tens of thousands of European starlings decorate the skies with hypnotic, fleeting patterns. They wheel and turn in perfect synchronicity, without a single collision. Fish do it too. When hunted in a school, their movements as a group are lightning fast and clever. Alone, fish can be poor decision makers, but together their accuracy vastly improves. How do they do it? Without juries or ballot boxes, and with a split second to react. The secret appears to be a few good decision makers within the school. When they move, the rest will follow. It's known as the quorum rule. A threshold of trusted individuals, which can be as little as 2 or 3, can sway the entire group to act. And by keeping equal distance between their neighbours, the movement of the school is almost immediate. In a human crowd, a few individuals can also have a big impact. But a high-stress situation doesn't cause large groups to act like a calculated network. Instead, small interactions can propagate like waves of density through a liquid, creating the potential for bottlenecks and chaos. The mood and behaviour of a crowd can even be predicted by applying algorithms of fluid dynamics to the movement. It's hoped that this kind of mathematical modelling could one day save lives. The many different forms of communication seen in both animals and humans are universal in one regard. They can help avoid conflict and enhance cooperation. Communication helps build trust. But wherever there is trust, there's ripe opportunity for deception. And what better way to deceive than to imitate? Weaver ants may be incredibly cooperative with each other, but they'll attack virtually any animal that crosses their path. But even though this crab spider is a threat, he's gone unnoticed. He's made his home right among the notoriously aggressive ants by speaking their visual language. He looks just like a weaver ant. And by lifting up his forelegs to look like antennae, he perfects the illusion. This way he may benefit from their protection and may even score a snack for his efforts. It's even easier to deceive when your mark is blinded by an all-consuming passion. In the Canadian province of Manitoba, the warm spring sunshine heats up a rocky hillside, and the blood of thousands of amorous male garter snakes. They've just emerged from a long hibernation and have one thing on their mind: sex. Somewhere in the middle of this slithering snake ball is likely a single female. But there's no way to be sure, even for the snakes. Because with no distinguishing markings and no obvious genitalia, the centre of this frenzy could equally be a deceptive male who has disguised himself with female pheromones. By pretending to be the opposite sex, he can exhaust his competition and steal their body heat, advancing his own chances of scoring a real female when she finally appears. Humans are also excellent liars. And learning the art of deception is a normal part of childhood development. Children typically learn to lie from around 2 years of age. Most commonly, it's for their own benefit. To hide a transgression or to get something they want. It's one of the first signs of the awareness of the minds of others. Even though they might not yet have perfected the act. But as we get older and our senses become more attuned, we get much better at it. And our need to trust means we're highly unlikely to pick up a lie in others as it happens. But mostly we tell white lies. the ones that make people feel better and hide our own inadequacies. Especially when we're meeting someone for the first time, where an average of 3 lies happens in the first 10 minutes. Lying is an essential part of our social language and our adult lives. Ultimately, wherever you find social interaction between members of the same species, it fulfills a deeper purpose. Getting along helps achieve our lifelong genetic quest to survive and pass on our DNA. Because the aim of living is loving, at least as far as sexual animals go. This satin bowerbird is making final touches on his bower, decorated to please his prospective partner. And her favourite colour is clearly blue. It can be a difficult hue to find on the forest floor, but luck happens to those who are prepared. And he's made a great effort, collecting bottle tops, feathers, and even a piece of Lego. But no matter how devoted he appears, for the bowerbird, love is transitory. Once he mates, he'll leave the female to build her nest and raise the chicks alone. It was once thought that 90% of bird species are monogamous. But even the ones that stay together forever turn out to be socially faithful at best. The albatross is considered one of the most loyal birds in the avian world. It spends much of its life in solitary, roaming tremendous distances over the oceans. But during summer, it returns to subantarctic islands to breed with its lifelong partner. Once reunited, the birds engage in an exquisite courtship dance. Their finely tuned pattern of beak clicks and body waves display a clear desire to cooperate. Building a nest from mud and vegetation, they produce a single egg and take turns in looking after it. But even in these rock-solid partnerships, all is not as it seems. A closer look at the DNA of their offspring reveals a colony of cheats. Up to 20% of albatross chicks have a different biological father to the one that raises them. But there's usually a good genetic reason why the females stray. If they've partnered with a mate too similar, their chick is less likely to survive. So finding another sexual partner on the side can improve the chance of their own DNA being passed on. In mammals who suckle their young, the female is the primary caregiver. So there's much less incentive for either party to remain faithful. And monogamy is extremely rare. But in many human cultures, it's the norm. The question is, why? It's thought this trait emerged so that males could prevent other males from killing their young. Another theory is that as groups grew larger, sexually transmitted diseases would have placed pressures on society to be monogamous. And we also have infants that require intensive care and benefit from a long-term commitment between both parents. Whether raised by one mother, two parents, or an entire herd, all mammal young indulge in a common behaviour that's been a long-standing evolutionary puzzle. Play. Fun comes at a price. It takes energy, it can be dangerous, and even fatal. But play is so common, it must have an evolutionary purpose, or it simply wouldn't exist. It's been suggested that play helps you learn the skills most needed in adulthood. It may also teach animals social rules important to peaceful pack behaviour. But even in animals that are largely solitary, play can increase chances of survival. The animal that can best explain this conundrum is the humble laboratory rat. It's taught us the most about how play can benefit the brain. The more young rats play, the better their brains develop. It not only makes them less prone to mental illnesses, it also seems to improve their intelligence. They're able to solve mazes and other problems more quickly when they're allowed to play. The same appears to be true in humans. When children play, they refine the front end of their brain, the area critical to regulating emotions, making plans, and solving problems. Less work and more play ultimately makes them smarter and more resilient. But the type of play matters. It needs to be free play, where children develop the rules, negotiate the terms, and imagine the boundaries. Across many species, play appears to have remarkably similar rules. Take turns, play fair, and don't inflict pain. But just because the rules are known, that doesn't mean they're always followed. Conflict is an inevitable part of life. And evolutionary expansion often involves trampling on the rights and territories of neighbours. Real estate on a coral reef is highly prized. And despite the appearance of peace and tranquility, every square inch of colonised ground is contested. Even corals fight. A white scar marks a territorial dispute between two plate corals. Their neighbours are also at war. It's a brutal sword fight of stinging tentacles. They vomit out their own stomachs to digest the opponent alive. Even the most cooperative animals fight. As a general rule, highly social and territorial animals are more likely to kill each other, however agreeable they may appear. The most common target is the young and defenceless. For all their cooperative pack behaviour, dingoes can be murderous animals. Dominant females will make sure the other females don't breed, killing their pups if they happen to give birth. Acts of violence against adults are usually impulsive acts of aggression in reaction to some kind of provocation. But there is another type of violence. Cold-blooded aggression plotted out in advance. This type of violence is relatively rare in nature between adults. Chimps are one of the few known species that engage in calculated warfare against other neighbouring tribes of their own kind. They'll venture out on a pre-planned attack only when they're guaranteed to win. Wars between rival groups can go on for years and be incredibly brutal. They also have high rates of spontaneous aggression, especially when life gets too crowded. But humans are a strange contradiction. We've learned to suppress our impulsive bursts of anger to an extraordinary degree. On a day-to-day basis, despite living in dense populations, we display incredible levels of tolerance and kindness, with rates of aggression up to 1,000 times less than chimpanzees. But when it comes to premeditated killing, humans kill other adults at a very high rate, often with shocking cruelty. What makes humans capable of such good and evil? One theory is that impulsive violence has been bred out of us, thanks to the complexity of our language. Because we're able to unite against violent individuals, dominant alpha males that once monopolised women and hogged all the resources can be eliminated. It's made us domesticated, just like our pets. But language has also given us the ability to conspire against other groups in huge numbers. We've gone way beyond tribal warfare. Now great nations can amass coalitions to seize power and resources on a grand scale. It's led to many of the great horrors of the human race: warfare, slavery, genocide, and torture. It's said that the price of love is grief, and the ultimate loss is death. There is ample evidence that grief over a loved one's death is not unique to humans. Even if a carcass has been lying for many days, elephants may visit the bones of their own, poking and touching them with their trunks and feet. Giraffes mourn too. When a giraffe loses her young calf, she may stand vigil near the body for hours, nudging it and licking it. As the hyenas circle, she protects the body from further attack. But the process of grieving amongst humans is marked by something extra. We don't just visit the bones of our relatives or cover their bodies. We mark their life and passing with ritual. Not only do these rituals provide us with a sense of comfort, but also connection. Ritual is the human trait which unites us all in groups much larger than family relations. It lies at the heart of what makes us cooperate so uniquely and so differently to all other species in the animal kingdom. From the small to the large, across every society, humans are bound by rituals. We celebrate births and marriages, commemorate battles, and the memory of our ancestors. We paint the colours of our tribes, fly the flags of our nation, and march against others in the name of religion. Rituals and their symbols are an important mark of human solidarity with others. They are the key part of what makes humans the ultimate social animal. We enter the world relying on the care and nurture of others. And our connection with each other helps us develop our full potential. From tribes to nations, and now a global community. Throughout history, human beings have connected with each other to dominate every animal and every corner of the planet. Whether our unique adaptations and ultra-cooperative nature will lead to an evolutionary dead end, or whether it's the pathway to even greater success, is a future unknown.